presentere den store pianisten Vladimir Ashkenazy, og den unge pianisten Stephen Bishop. As far as I know, you are good friends, and you are living in the same city in London. But do you have often a chance to be together, to talk together, to play together?
Well, yes, sometimes we do.
Yes, not too often because
we both travel very much.
we seldom there at the same time.
So that was an opportunity you had to have a talk together today.
Yes, one of them, yes.
Tell me, have you ever played together before? I mean, beforehand piano?
Strangely enough, no, we haven't.
No, it was the first time we really, I think the first time we sat at the same piano and played it for hands.
We play for each other,
but
actually playing for hands, we've never done that.
And so it will be really for the first time in Oslo.
It's our world premiere.
World premiere, it's wonderful, really wonderful. And we are very happy for it. And what will you then play for us as the first number?
Shall we do the Mozart
Shall we do the Mozart?
The variations?
Yes.
Schumann variations.
Altså Mozarts variasjoner I G-dur. Please, gentlemen.
All right.
Oh, you had fun.
Yes.
Yes. And the listeners had fun too. You said you played for each other. Is that for discuss the music or get any ideas, or is it just for fun that too?
Well, for fun, but we learn a great deal from each other, I think.
Of course.
Well, when we play for each other, we're really sort of playing for. We're in fact asking for an advice and for the appraisal. Is that right?
Yes, I think so.
Well, that is between good friends. But what about pianists in the hall when you have a concert?
Well, you know, it's so different. It depends on one's state of mind, actually. Unfortunately, because you know, one should really be concentrated on what one is going to play, and one is always concentrated. That's true. One always is, but still, there are some other things which unfortunately get into one's mind, and sometimes I would not care whether all the hall would be filled with pianists of the world's fame. You know, I wouldn't care, and other times I would care for, I don't know, a friend of mine who even not a musician, you know. But I just know that he's sitting there, I'll be thinking of him. It's so strange. It's wrong. But sometimes I can't help it. I'm sure it's about the same with you, isn't
Yes.
it?
You told me a story from the festival hall, wasn't it?
Yes, it was very fun. When I came to play the Brahms second concerto with the orchestra a few days ago, just as I was entering my artist's door, you know, I saw Stephen there, Martha Argerich, Daniel Barenboim, Malcolm Frager, Jacqueline Dupre, and I don't know who else. I mean, all musicians, all my friends, of course. And I thought I'll be terrified, you know, but I wasn't. And then 3 days later, I played a much less important concert than that in a small hall outside of London, you know. And in the interval, I found out that there was a pianist in the audience, Michel Bloch. And I was a bit nervous. It was very strange.
You could never tell.
I
Do you
could
have the
never
same feeling?
Well, I think I would almost always be nervous if I knew that pianists were in the audience. I know 2 or 3 years ago I had a recital at the same festival hall, and you had said that you weren't going to be able to come because he had a rehearsal. And during the interval, I looked out the window and I saw someone run in from the taxi very quickly, and I couldn't quite see who it was, and I had a terrible feeling that it was you. You see, it made me very nervous.
It's a pity it wasn't me, actually, because it was very good.
Well, you play for each other. May I ask if one of you will play for the two other of us?
Yes, certainly. Yes.
Could you play something for us?
Right.
And what will you play then?
I'd like to play the Sarabande, Minuet, and Gigue from the fourth Partita of Bach.
Thank you. The piano is yours. Thank you. We talked about nerves. Something can happen on the stage if the nerves are there.
Oh, very much so.
Mm? You start a story for me before we started dating. You remember it?
Yes. Well, this was, I think, about 5 years ago, and it was my first performance of the fourth Beethoven piano concerto. And also it was one of my first performances in London when I was trying to get started. And I hadn't had much orchestral experience. In fact, I think I'd only played the Emperor Concerto about 6 months before, and that was all. And of course, we rehearsed the Beethoven 4 in the morning. And you know, it's one of the few concertos that begin very quietly with the piano. And before I was to go on, of course, I was thinking of this opening and trying to be relaxed, you see, but of course I was very nervous. And when I went on stage, I sat down, and I was so nervous, I forgot that I was playing the fourth, and I waited for the orchestra to begin the Emperor Concerto. And of course, they waited, naturally, for me to begin the piece, and there was quite a time there. And then suddenly, I remembered that I was playing the fourth, and instead of beginning very quietly, I jumped into it. It was terrible.
Are you interested in translation of the reviews from the different countries you are playing in, or do you not read it at all?
Well, once I read.
You have no time to read it?
Yes, I do. Yes. Oh, of course, it's interesting after all. If it's not always helpful,
No.
but it's
Well,
it
you
gives a picture.
know Stravinsky's idea about the critics.
I'm sure he hates it.
Yes, I have heard he hates them. Actually, I have heard that he bases his opinions of the performance. I don't know if that's true, but I was told on how they play his music. You know, that seems to me gone too far, because like this, I suppose you might dismiss Furtwängler altogether, because he wasn't playing Stravinsky much, not too well, I suppose.
But he dismisses all composers who don't have something in common with him as well.
Is that true?
He's only recently begun to like Beethoven.
It's true. Once he
You're
said
there?
the greatest composer was Czerny. He had written in the book. Yeah, that's true. About Stravinsky, let's go up to our time. Are you interested in contemporary music?
The most recent music I've played is Bartók.
Well, also, I've never gone further than Bartók, Shostakovich. That's
Do you try to have a program for a season with 1, 2, 3 programs, or really variation of your season program?
Well, I usually learn new things in the midst of the season or in between seasons. As soon as it's all right, the new work, I would include it in the new program. I don't like having 1 or 2 programs for a season. I think it's it's a little bit limiting yourself.
But isn't it hard to always find time to practice during a tour?
Well, terrible. I mean, no matter how well you know a piece, you always have to practice it again before a concert. And if you're playing, let's say, 2 recital programs and 4 or 5 concertos in a month, you have to practice all the time.
Yes,
you know.
it is really very
It's very difficult.
Well, Mr. Bishop played for us, Mr. Ashkenazy. What about you now?
Well, I'll have to.
Yeah, I think you have to.
Well, I thought of playing 2 Schumann pieces of Fantasiestücke.
Yeah?
Des Abends and Aufschwung.
Yeah, nice. Das Abend and Aufschwung. Thank you.
Bravo.
Hard work. Thank you.
What are you planning on learning? What would you like to learn now?
Well, I have to learn the Beethoven 4 now because
Mhm.
I have to play it first time in May and then in July again. So this is my last Beethoven concerto. I play all the others.
When you've learned this, you'll have learned all of them.
Yes, and you need number 3.
I have to learn number 3.
And then you also have all of them.
Yes.
And of course, then I can't wait for learning Brahms 1, which you play.
And I can't wait to learn Brahms 2, which you play.
Well, let's not start complimenting each other.
Yeah.
No, but that's true.
Yes.
Those new things.
Mhm.
I have so many plans that, sometimes one thinks that one life is not enough.
Yes.
And that's too bad, really. But you're doing Bartok 2 again, yes?
Yes, I played it once.
Yes, I heard that.
And I'd like to play it a lot more now. It's a piece that I love very much.
Oh, it was very successful.
So, but that I already know. I'd like to learn the left hand.
Ravel.
Yes.
Ravel concerto,
Yes.
yeah.
I think it's a magnificent piece.
Yes, actually, it's much better than the G major, don't you think?
I see what you mean. Yes, I think so. It's one of his best compositions, actually. I think.
Yes, I'm sure.
Is it some music you don't want to play at all? I mean, from the big names.
From the big
composers.
names.
Well, some Liszt, huh?
Yeah.
Liszt, I'm not. Yes, and Liszt, and I also have a funny blind spot with Haydn.
Mhm.
I don't know. And you?
I think I would like to play some Haydn, but I don't think I'll be ever especially fond of playing Haydn. But I would like to have some in my repertoire.
Yes, I would like some, but I mean, I
Yes.
can't imagine really trying to learn a lot of Haydn.
No, I don't think so.
You know.
Not with me either.
Yes.
But I would like to play all Mozart sonatas, for instance, and
Yes.
concerti too.
Yes, definitely. I'm not all the sonatas, all the concertos. I'd like to play all of Beethoven eventually.
Yes, I do. Well, once you said you are not interested in all the sonatas.
I know.
Remember?
But I've expected to be interested in all of them. So.
Well, yes.
If you have a free evening, are you interested to go to a piano concerto to listen to another pianist?
Oh yes.
Oh, yes.
Mm.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it was very funny. A group of musicians were. I live in a place where there are quite a few musicians, and we were all trying to think what was the last concert we went to, just for the sake of the music, and it was terribly shocking because we never really went to a concert except if a friend was playing a piano concerto. It's really very bad. Yeah.
Actually, it was a pity that you didn't go to hear Requiem, Mozart.
Yes.
Our good friend Daniel Barenboim, he's a well-known and a great pianist, but he is also a great conductor. And not so long ago, he conducted Mozart's Requiem at a very short notice because the conductor fell ill who was supposed to conduct. And at a notice of 2 or 3 days, he came and rehearsed to the choir and everything. He conducted it so well that Stephen was busy. You were playing somewhere, I think. But fortunately, I was there.
Yes.
It was an incredibly beautiful performance. I think it was one of the best ever I heard of this piece.
What about you in conducting?
Well, eventually.
We
Eventually,
both
yeah.
want very
Yes.
much.
We have a fiendish plan
Yes.
to conduct somewhere.
Yes, I have plans for Russian music. I was gonna Tchaikovsky, Scriabin, and Rachmaninoff. And you want
I don't do
anything
the
else?
Brahms symphonies. Love to.
I hope it will come
Yes.
through.
I'd also like to conduct concertos for other people. I mean,
Yes.
you know, not only to play the emperor on the piano, but to conduct for someone else.
Yes,
I understand.
from both sides.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, many things we want to do.
Yes.
Well,
It's
chamber music.
always hard to find time to do it.
Well, I know that if one wants to do things, one always finds time.
Well, what about the family life? You need
Well,
time for that too.
Well, I'm sure we do find time for that. I'm sure. No, but this is really a question of knowing what you want to do, because as you asked about the new pieces, when do we have time to learn it? Yes, having such a repertoire and playing a few concerts in a month and a few different programs in a month, and we still find time of learning new pieces in the same month. Why? Because we really want to. We can't imagine our lives without doing it.
You cannot.
see?
You see, you just play the same music. But
No.
the only way I found that, or the only way to make sure that I do learn a piece, is not to say, now I want to learn a piece and I'm going to learn it, if I may have an engagement by an orchestra, they say, what would you like to play? I say, something I've never played, then I have to do it.
Yes.
You see.
And then you find time.
And that's it.
Then you find time, there's no choice. You see, about it.
Tell me, are you satisfied with the most of your own records?
No, the most, of course, not.
Sometimes, because and then sometimes you think they're absolutely horrible, you know, and then 6 months later you might like them again.
And I find myself satisfied with, sometimes with the, you know, I would record some long piece, I would be satisfied with the whole line.
No.
But in the midst, you know, all the details I would be unsatisfied, or vice versa, it might happen, you know. Of course, there is never a complete satisfaction, because as we were talking yesterday, you know, about the realizations of your ideas. You know, ideals are always unattainable, and you always have ideals in your mind, and you get so upset when you listen to what it came out like.
But thank goodness they're unattainable. What else would we do all day? They were so easily attained.
Yeah.
But recording, I must say, there's a great danger in recording that, I mean, it's a cliche, but it's absolutely true that people expect technical perfection, and indeed, one begins to give it more value than is really appropriate, you know. And for example, if you play a big Beethoven sonata, I mean, simply you don't hear perfect performances. There's always a mistake somewhere. And the important thing is the line and the whole your conception and all that. But in a recording, you see, if you have a bravura passage and your finger does something strange, you have to you have to go back, and sometimes you make a greater mistake by losing a whole feeling of a movement.
Yeah.
You see, but I'm afraid that it takes a good deal of character or strength or something or stubbornness to be willing to put up with a few mistakes.
Yes, but I'm sure that the actual experience helps us, don't you think so? I mean, your first record, I suppose you were upset much more than now when you do records and make mistakes in the beginning. Then you wouldn't care and you would play to the end anyway as if nothing happened, don't you think?
Yes.
More and more, I find it myself.
I mean, in fact, there is a technique of recording that enables you to make a pretty fair compromise, you know, between. But it takes quite a while. And also, it's very difficult for them to, the sound that you know you make on a piano. You see, this piano is still the most difficult instrument to record because it has the loudest volume from a single source, you see. And if you have a terrific passage that sounds very loud and you play concert dynamics, sometimes they have to, I don't know what the term is, but they have to do this, you see.
And bring it down.
Bring it down. Then you have to adjust your soft passages a little softer, so that and it's, that's terrible, you know. Perhaps there's still a lot of technical work for them to do.
Yeah, that is a hard work.
Of course it is.
Even if you got a good review, you can be... You are not agree maybe sometimes with the critics too, isn't it like so?
Of course.
I mean, you know, sometimes when you play very well, and you know you've played well, and you get an absolute obituary the next day, you see? And vice versa, you play absolutely like a pig, you see? And then they like it.
You know, critics sometimes they have sometimes a preconception of how this work should be played. And you know, they sometimes remember that when they were 20 or 21, they heard that great pianist who played this. Anyway, Schnabel, all right. And who played it in such and such a manner. Now, look, now they're maybe 45 or 50. They surely can't remember exactly how. They only remember an impression, you know? And if you know, for God's sake, don't manage to play just about the same lines, they tear you to pieces, you know? And that is wrong, of course.
Of course.
That is very wrong.
And
say
why would you say? I mean, you know, I can remember playing the Beethoven first piano concerto, and it has an enormous cadenza that is really quite absurdly long, but it's by the old man himself, you know, and he played it. You see, and often when you play this concerto, the critics hear this long cadenza and they say, "What bad taste!" And who could possibly have written it? Of course, they don't know that it's Beethoven himself. You see, this is a sort of.
Yes,
You know.
can make mistakes too, not only we.
Yes.
Apropos Beethoven, I heard you practice on the Beethoven Opus 6, wasn't it?
Oh, we need it. It's going to be
But is
famous.
that what you're going to play now?
Well, if you ask us very much, because we haven't practiced it too much, really. You know, it will go all right, but not
Well,
extremely well.
it
We'll
might be
try.
It might be
it's for
recognizable.
fun, isn't it?
Let's try. Well, it's a great fun. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.